Hey guys, SickMotion here with the patch 7.5 notes. Couple interesting changes here. They made quite a few changes to Aatrox. I'd suggest just going to check it out more than anything. I'll kind of go over it really kind of briefly. Basically, his passive is no longer always there, and it no longer always is just permanently giving him his attack speed. And if it's up, he'll always be revived regardless. And if it's the passive's on cooldown, then he doesn't have his revive passive. He still has the revive passive. It still has a cooldown on it, but you have to activate it by stacking your passive up and filling the bar. Basically, the bar is broken into 5 sections, and each time you do something that gives it a stack, it'll obviously give a stack to it. And then at 5 stacks, you're going to gain a steroid of attack speed and attack damage, kind of like a Sterix almost thing. So basically, when you fill it all the way full, you gain 25% base attack damage with 20 to 50% attack speed, depending on your level, obviously. And then while he's in that, if he dies, it's the revive passive that you're kind of used to. When he reaches 100% blood well, he'll begin to drain over 4 seconds, giving him blood rush for the duration. It used to be, I'm not sure. I didn't look through here. When I was playing with him on the PBE, auto attacking refreshed your blood well or your blood rush duration. I'm not sure. Um, Not sure if it still does that. It doesn't look like it, but anyway, there's the revive cooldown there. His abilities no longer cost health to use. His Q has no cost, or sorry, his E still costs health, but his Q has no cost. Um, Goes off total attack damage now rather than bonus, so you can build tanky on him and you still have that AD ratio, but I mean, you're losing a lot of the base damage anyway. I don't know how the damage there compares, but it fills up 20% of the blood well. So basically, 1 out of the 5 stacks is kind of how it feels. His W no longer heals you based on your bonus attack damage. He heals for a flat amount plus 5% of your missing health, and that healing is no longer tripled when you're below 50% health. So whether you're at full health or just a little bit below full health, or you're at 5% health, you're going to be healing for the same. It's not going to be super empowered. The only thing that changes is you're obviously going to get more healing done based on your missing health here. There's also no cost on the damage portion of it, of the toggle on his W. It has less damage now as well, but it fills up 20% of your blood well on proc as well. Sorry, I'm still sick. Gotta mute my mic every now and then to have a little coughing spat. So every third hit will give you 1 stack on your blood well, which is the easiest way to charge it, because obviously if you're only getting 1 stack from your Q and your E, it's harder to get up to the 5. Blades of Torment, still basically the same thing. It has an AD ratio of 0.7 rather than 0.6, but it lost its AP ratio. It does physical damage now rather than magic. The slow potency is 40% at all ranks, so it's stronger early and then weaker later. Slow duration is normalized, so you're not getting a bigger slow for a longer duration. You're getting the same slow for the same duration, and it fills up the blood well. Basically, the way that I was looking at it is it doesn't really address what his current problems are entirely. It I don't know. It kind of feels like they just mixed. It kind of felt like the Xin Zhao change. That Xin was really broken, but because it was just a stat check and his numbers were really high, and then they fixed his numbers, and you still never see Xin because it's still the same champion. A couple small tweaks, but it's still basically the same champion. It's hard to make work. He has less opportunities for success, just based on his kit and what his abilities do and how they work in the current meta. I don't know. I say he does. It feels like it doesn't address his problem with how he was played. I should say, with getting a little bit more Bruiser Reap a little bit more damage. Maybe there's a build that's lot of health, tanky Aatrox, that you get that on hit missing health heal, but you're unkillable anyway, so you get low on health and you can just keep kind of healing. I don't know, but like I said, it doesn't feel like it really addressed his problem, so we'll go past that. Spent more time on it than I was expecting to. Fizz, the Q, gained a 0.2 AP ratio. His W's bleed duration is less. The damage is unchanged, so you do more damage in the shorter period of time, like more damage per second, but the same damage overall. And the mark duration is up from 4 to 6 seconds, so you have an extra 2 seconds to proc that mark. Chum the waters. When the fish reaches the location without attaching to anything, the check for a nearby target to attach is now less generous, with fishes are no longer picked up by enemies that walk over them. It's kind of two different tips here, though. This one's saying that they won't be picked up if someone walks over them. This one says it's less generous. So I really don't know what to do with like the two conflicting definitions there, but I guess it's safe to say it's just less likely to get picked up. I'm not sure if it's not going to pick up entirely. Like I said, those were two conflicting sources there. I didn't actually look at the Kindred changes. I just saw a wall of text and was like, I don't really want to look at this. After 70 to 50 of having no jungle mark, Wolf marks an enemy jungle for 5 to 3 minutes. So I guess you have less time to get it, but you'll get it more often if they keep killing it. You're not locked out of it for a while. Possible camps for Wolf's jungle marks have been updated based on how many stacks Kindred has as an indicator of stacks Wolf can mark. Rift Scuttler only with 0. Rift Scuttler, Crimson Raptor, Gromp with 1, 2, 3. Basically, it's just switching some stuff around here. You can check that out. I guess it tells you right there, but wouldn't have been able to tell you if someone like asked me the question, what can she market, what stacks? I've been like, fuck, I don't know. LeBlanc got some pretty hard hits here. Her Shadow Orb damage to minions is back to 80%. I think that's what it was at before. It was 40%. It's to 80 now, but it's because she lost a shit ton of wave clear on her distortion because the base damage is down from 85 at level 1 and 225 at level 5 to 40 and 100, and the AP ratio to compensate, just kidding, also got completely screwed. It went from 0.6 to 0.2. It lost 0.4 of the AP ratio, and the mimic damage is lost a ton of the base damage as well, and it lost 0.2 of the AP ratio. So she got like hit really, really hard with her AP ratios on the W damage. So I mean, the change is still super frustrating to play against, but at least I guess you kind of have to aim them. The W is kind of like, there's the guy, press the button. So there's that now. Lucian's cast time on his Q scales with his level from 0.4 to 0.25, so it's easier to get off later on in the game. I think that's just so it meshes better with his auto attacks, because early on you don't have much attack speed, but later on you do, and you can definitely feel that you're getting locked out of attacking for a lot longer when your attack speed's a lot higher. Ardent Blaze also got 0.05 second off the cast time, so it's a little bit, it's not very much, but it's a little bit. So a little bit of usability and quality of life feeling things there that'll feel good. Bounce base damage is now matching the first hit. Bounce total, this is for Misfortune by the way, if you didn't see, sorry. The bounce AD ratio and the bounce AP ratio, all basically the same, so it doesn't do like a ton of extra damage. Bounce no longer deals 50% increased damage when the first hit kills a target, so it's less about finding that lucky bounce in a minion wave that their enemy isn't paying attention to, or executing someone in a team fight while they're running at a team, taking it to them. But the bounces can now critically strike and always critically strike if it kills a target, so you still do get like the bounce damage there, but you can get it without actually killing the target. Damage is affected by crit multipliers like Infinity Edge, so it looks like they're just trying to like solidify, hey, build crit on her, but it's also like you don't have to kill the first target to get the damage. Sorry, I'm trying to get off as many words as I can before I have to mute my mic and start coughing again. Rengar's base armor got taken down by 4, and his battle roar as well got hit, so his jungle sustain is going to be a lot less. It's from 100% monster damage taken to 75%, so he'll be able to heal less and be taking more damage in the jungle, so his early clears especially are going to hurt a little bit more. Rune Prison went from a 1 to a 0.75 second. Snare Empowered is unchanged, but it's less like you don't have to I don't have to bother empowering it because it's 1 second anyway. It's enough to get off an empowered Q and they're dead. Spell Flux cooldown is same at level 5, but it's gone up a full second at level 1. Varus had some changes here, some pretty big changes and pretty big nerfs. He now scales up to 150% of his total attack damage rather than 165 for full charging, so there's a 15% ratio there. The cooldown also got increased by 4 seconds at all levels, but you will gain a 4-second cooldown off of it if you detonate a Blight stack on a champion. This could be seen as a buff if you have a different playstyle because you get 4 seconds off of it, and if you have a lot of cooldown reduction, then the base cooldown's not going to be that high. However, it says specifically right here that it also scales with cooldown reduction, so what that means is if you had 20 second cooldown, you had 40% CDR, then it's going to be a 12-second cooldown instead of the 20. And then you remove 4 off of it, that'd be an 8, but the 4 also gets cooldown scaled. It's kind of feels weird. It's cooldown reduction that's reducing a cooldown of something that actually is hurting you in the end. So this would, instead of being 4 seconds reduction, it would be, what would it be? I think a 0.24 reduction. Or sorry, 0.24, 2.4. Kind of tired here. So it's going to be consistent. It's not like something like Olaf's E, where you gain a ton of cooldown reduction, and it takes the base cooldown of his E down all the way till it's really low, and then every time you auto-attack, you get 1 second off of the cooldown on it still, rather than that scaling with cooldown reduction. Zyra has a new skin and a new death animation. So there's that. Blade of the Rune King got changed around here. The total cost is down by 100. Attack damage is up by 15, but the attack speed is down by 15. One of the reasons you would buy it a lot is because you get the attack speed, but it'll still it'll work. It's got 5% more lifesteal, so that feels a lot better as well. Because compared to like a Bloodthirster that gives you the shield as well, like I don't know. The 15% lifesteal I feel better. Got to keep in mind that it still heals off of the percentage health damage that it does. So you'll be healing for more off that percentage health damage that it does, which is good. Damage dealt by the active is no longer converted to a heal. So the active no longer heals you for however much it did, 10% of the target's max health. It no longer does 10% of the target's max health. It now does 100. No longer does physical damage. Now does magic. Bunch of kind of like small changes that change it quite a bit. The Blade of the Runes passive on hit damage is now a minimum of 15 as well, rather than 10. Matches the recurve's bow on hit. It's kind of weird that the recurve bow had higher, and then you switch it over, and then you kind of get less minimum damage. But yeah. Edge of the Night already got gutted for those who missed it. It got 5 AD off, and the active cooldown went up 15 seconds, and that was in a hotfix right after the patch last time. Now, the shield duration, rather than being 10 seconds, you just press it when you think you're going to get screwed, and then you have 10 seconds of kind of, yeah, I'm safe-ish, to 5. So before, it used to be a 10-second shield duration on a 30-second cooldown. And now it's a 5-second shield duration on a 45-second cooldown. So just the overall active uptime of the shield is a lot less. It got cut down pretty hard. It was very frustrating to play against because very kind of like something might happen. Press the button. And it was less about like, all right, I actually have to, it feels like I'm committing something to it rather than, all right, I'll press it, and if it doesn't do anything, then I'll just wait a couple seconds and it's back up again. So new mastery here. It takes out Bond of Stone, the other defensive mastery that just reduced damage someone else took and gave it to you. Basically, no one took it because it was all right. It just wasn't overly as measurable, is what they say in here as well. I agree with that. But Colossus just feels a lot more impactful when you hit it properly rather than just having that passive always there. Grasp feels a lot better for in lane if you're not wanting to take Colossus, but you're wanting the defense thing there. This kind of feels like it's going to be for supports. It's basically old Shen Q. If you remember, Shen Q is something, people hit it, they gain health over time. Basically a really big boost of health per 5. So you just straight off the top gain 5% max health. So if you have 4,000 health, which is probably somewhere you might end up on, especially if you're taking it in the solo lane. I probably wouldn't take it in the solo lane, but that's an extra 200 health right there. It's kind of like a mixture of the old Shen thing plus a mixture of the old stacking health jungle mastery that was there. I already forgot the name of it. But yeah. So you gain just 5% max health. You don't have to stack it. Your movement and pairing effects mark enemy champions with Earth and Rune that heals other allied champions who basically attack them. So it doesn't heal yourself, but it heals other champions. They'll heal for 5. And this isn't per hit, it's over 2 seconds, so you can't just stack a ton of attack speed and get a ridiculous amount of healing. As long as you're attacking once every 2 seconds, you'll just keep this persistent effect up. Plus 2.5% of your max health. If you have 4,000 health, like the example before, that's 100 right there. So you're healing 105 every 2 seconds. So you're basically getting 50 health per second. On a low health character, that's very noticeable. Might not help you if you're like taking a ton of damage at the same time compared to just big bursts of lifesteal or like a big heal or something, but it'll definitely give you a ton of sustain, as well as it does kind of nerf it for ranged characters, or else I think it would be too strong. If they're ranged, I think it's half. Does it say it in here? It doesn't say it in here. I looked at the mastery in game and it said ranged champions receive half, so I'm not sure if that's still a thing. I hope so. I think so. I don't know though. It just didn't make it into the patch notes, I guess. Also, if they're marked by multiple of this, it'll just take the one that's the strongest, so you can't like screw it up for your team by having this mastery and then not building health and being like, haha, I'm screwing everyone over. Deathfire Touch bonus AD ratio is down to 45% rather than 60, so that hurts like AD caster type Deathfire users a bit. Pantheon top lane sometimes would take it. Jhin is definitely obviously the one that comes to mind the most. Jhin didn't get nerfed here and Varus did, and those are kind of like the 280 carries that people play right now. Sometimes there's other ones, but it's usually Jhin or Varus, and if one of them gets banned, you know that they're going for the other one even in solo queue. So this will affect Jhin, but I still think Jhin is going to be prioritized quite a bit. And Warrior's Bloodlust also got a complete change to it. It no longer gain lifesteal based on your missing health. That's less effective against minions and less effective for ranged champions. It's moving or attacking will make an attack energized. Your energized attacks have lifesteal and grant 30% movement speed for 3/4 seconds. So it gives you a short little burst of movement speed to auto and then catch up, auto and then catch up. Rather than just like autoing and then they run away while you're kind of, even if you stand like have a max attack speed, you're standing still for at least like a little fraction of a second, and then they kind of end up getting further away. It's gonna be used for like kiting. The lifesteal at level 1 is 1%, and then it goes up to 50% at level 18. That's not every auto, keep that in mind. It's every time the attack is energized. However, I didn't see it in game. I didn't test it before this or anything. I don't know what the recharge rate on that energized attack is and how fast it recharges. And that's a big thing. If it's every single time you auto attack, your next auto attack is going to be energized, pretty broken. If it's every single time you take a step, your next attack will be energized, pretty broken. I don't know if it's kind of like this cough, man. I don't know if it's kind of like I'm assuming like a Luden's Echo or a Shiv or something like that you have to charge it up for a certain amount of time and there's an indicator. I don't know at all. No one had it in the last game I played, their last 2 games I played before doing these patch notes either. So that was another thing I wish I would have had a chance to test, but it looks interesting. It looks more than just like, let's just add free stats to it, and more of a, this thing has something unique to it that I might be able to play the champion that I have selected better into the current game and switch what I was intending on taking and take this instead, because it does a thing that is going to be helpful, which I think is cool, that you're not just like, I'm taking this mastery every single time because I'm playing this champion, which is kind of stale to have that be the case. So hopefully it does something like that. Exhaust just got absolutely completely guttered. No longer reduces target's attack speed by 30%. No longer is a free Malphite E. No longer reduces it more than a Frozen Heart. And no longer reduces resistance of their armor and magic resistance by 10. So it's no longer just a flat 10 armor pen and flat 10 magic pen. It only reduces damage and slows. I guess it slows their movement, but it doesn't reduce attack speed. And that was one of the most annoying things on the exhaust. I mean, you take more damage when you're exhausted because you have the reductions. That was kind of annoying. But it was very noticeable when you're trying to kill someone, you get exhausted, and you're like, I can still kill them even with the damage reduction, but your attack takes 10 years to go off because your attack speed is so slow. And you end up canceling your auto attack by accident to cast a spell or something because you weren't expecting it to take actually that long. So exhaust got completely gutted. I've rarely run exhaust, so that doesn't affect. That actually makes me happy that it did because I get affected by it more than I get a benefit out of it. Older champions have a different recall animation, so like I think they actually kind of use some of their other idle animations to make it look like they actually have a unique recall animation is what I'm getting out of it. I'm not sure. I read that a while ago. I don't know. Sizing, champion dies sizing, changes there. Tooltips, we've updated in-game tooltips to better match the visual change we made to leagues years ago. Also to use real arrows rather than dashes and brackets. Cool. Real arrows. We have the technology. This is another change I didn't get a chance to check or test. Jax's auto attack animation for the longest time just feels like it's the easiest thing to cancel in the entire world because it feels like the attack has fully gone off. It's made the sound, it's made the animation and whatnot, and like you feel like you've gotten screwed when like it just doesn't do damage or someone like stuns you and you're like okay, well I still should have got the auto attack off, and it's just felt like just the clunkiest attack for the longest time. I don't know if this addresses it. I read it and I was excited that maybe it does. But basically empowers attack now always uses the crit animation. This is the big one. Altered cast frames on Jax's basic attack to be more visually consistent. So maybe they didn't change anything, but if it's at least visually consistent, then it's not going to feel as clunky, and then in turn I guess not be as clunky. Resized Counter-Strike hit particle and did some rotation swirl editing to more accurately convey the range and shape. So nothing's actually been like changed in like the distance or and like how much of an area it affects. It's just more visually consistent. So I don't know if playing around with this will have fixed the problems that I have been running into for all my life, but hopefully. And once he levels his ultimate, Jax cycles consistently through his different basic attack animations as well. Adjusted the particle to match the size of the cone on Feral Scream. And then they did some added pre and on hit animations sync with Paranoia's damage and added indicator visible to Nocturne only to show tether range. So if they showed it to other people, that'd be kind of a nerf to Nocturne, but since it shows it only to him, it'll be kind of more user-friendly for Nocturnes that are less experienced. I mean, ones that play it all the time probably know that fear tether range anyway. And then some league client updates and a bunch of bug fixes that I usually don't go over. And two actually pretty cool skins. The Xin Zhao skin looks pretty awesome. The Zyre skin looks pretty awesome as well. The plants in game and the in-game effects of both of these skins are pretty cool. But I mean, how often do you see Xin anyway? You're probably gonna have a Xin Zhao with a cool skin feeding on your team because he's like, I have to play him because I got the skin in a mystery box, but I don't know what I'm doing. So hopefully you don't have that luck. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you found it helpful. Wasn't expecting to go over the Aatrox changes so long, so it ended up being longer than I expected, which it usually does. I honestly talk for longer than I expect almost every time. But hopefully some people find that helpful. Let me know if they're like in the comments. Like I said, I've been saying every time, I do read the comments. I just don't always I rarely respond to them, I should say, but I do read them, so I do get to see feedback and stuff in there, the things that you might like to see or like suggestions you have. As well, social media is in the description as always. Drop a like or a sub if you want to see more stuff like this. And yeah, take it easy, guys. We'll see you next time.